Hello everyone, welcome back and thanks for tuning in. In this video, I would like to address how to beat the narc by fighting fair. So the title of this video probably strikes many of you immediately in saying you can't beat a narc and there is no fighting fair with the narcissist. And you would actually be pretty correct. However, I'd like to offer you another tool for your toolkit. I believe one of the best ways to stay calm when you're dealing with one of these people is by fighting as fair as possible, because it does a couple things. It keeps you calm, it forces them to stick to the facts rather, and it exposes the fallacy of whatever their argument is, because 99% of the time the narcissist doesn't have a real basis or real grounds for an argument. Sometimes they do, occasionally, but it's rare. So if you're in an argument or a discussion, or you're having a verbal argument with this person, it behooves you to stay calm, because as soon as you get flustered is when they kind of win and then take over, and then it's very easy to steamroll you from there. The tips I'm going to give you here will help keep you in the game, help keep you alert, keep you focused, and ultimately what will probably happen is the narcissist will get upset with the conversation and they'll storm off, and I'll tell you what to do when that happens as well. So let's go into the very first tip. Don't interrupt them. When they're going on their little tirade, it's going to be very tempting to try to jump in, correct, pause, hold on, let's put a thumbtack here. Just let them go. Just let them talk. Let them get their points out. And while they're getting their points out, if you're able to, take notes. And here's why I say that. It's a couple things. One, the narcissist is going to present 4 or 5 different arguments in place of the one argument that you're actually having. So they're going to present several different things that need to be addressed before you can actually move forward with the conversation. And if you're not taking notes, it's going to be very hard to remember all of it. But if they're running on and on, you're taking notes, the note-taking itself is probably going to freak them out a little bit, because they don't like accountability. So they don't want to be recorded in any way, because they don't want anyone to be able to go play back or show them what they actually said at one point in time. This is why they lie so much, and they're very creative with their lies, because most of the time their lies are not recorded in anywhere. You're going to record it while you're having this conversation. And if it starts and you weren't aware that it was getting ready to go south, then you just say, hold on one second, let me grab a pen and paper. And if that doesn't end it right there, it puts them on alert that you are here, you're present, and you're game for this conversation, so that you're not going to easily be thrown off. So you don't interrupt them. You let them go on and on until they burn themselves out. You take notes. And then when it's finally your time, you say to them, listen, I listened to you while you spoke, and so I'd really like the opportunity to get off my chest what I need to say. If you need to take notes as well, by all means, do so. So you offer up the note-taking to them as well. If it's a notepad, tear off a piece of paper and slide it across the table to them. Give them an extra pen or pencil, because what you're showing them is you're not running an agenda, you're not trying to be sneaky, that they can actually take notes too if they want to, so you can have a productive conversation. But remember, the narcissist doesn't want this type of interaction. They don't want healthy dialogue and healthy conversation, so they'll probably refuse you the opportunity to take notes themselves. So now it's your turn. It's your turn to speak. You have the floor, and within 10 to 15 seconds of you speaking, the narcissist jumps in and interrupts you. What you have to do at that point is say, hold on a second, I wasn't done. Sometimes they'll go ahead and they'll say, okay, go ahead and finish. So then you continue, and then they interrupt you again and jump in. Because again, they're not mature enough to sit silently while someone else presents their points. So if they do it again, this is where you take the opportunity to say, if you interrupt me one more time, or if you cut me off one more time and don't let me finish my thought, I'm going to end this conversation. They're not going to believe you. They're going to interrupt you again. And here's where you have to start taking your power back and say, okay, you just interrupted me again. You won't let me finish my thought. we're not going to be able to have a productive conversation as a result, so this conversation is over. And sometimes the narcissist will let you leave the room. Sometimes they'll fight to get you to stay. But either way, just end the conversation. It's over. They've demonstrated a lack of respect. They've demonstrated that they won't let you get your thoughts out without cutting you off and interrupting you. So the conversation's over. And then you say to them, if you want to try this conversation again tomorrow or whenever, I'm more than happy to pick up where we left off. And guess what? You have notes. So you'll remember where you left off because you took notes. Okay? Here we go. If they actually allow you to speak and get your thoughts out one by one, reassure the narc that they're actually going to get their turn to speak again as well. A lot of times the narcissist is afraid that they're not going to get their opportunity to gaslight you. So reassure them that they will have their opportunity to gaslight you. Don't use that term. Just say, when I'm done, you can speak. And you know, a lot of counseling practices use a talking stick. Your narcissist will scoff at your talking stick. They're probably not going to do that, but try it. You never know. It might work. They might be game for it. I doubt it though, because it's too close to being healthy and it's too close to being normal. Don't allow yourself to follow the rabbit down the rabbit hole. In other words, remember, you have one argument, but the narcissist has presented 4 or 5 different arguments in the conversation. Don't allow yourself to get tangled up in the left turns without following them in a logical order. So again, remember, you took notes. So you are aware of the 4 or 5 different arguments that are out there. And you are just you're going to address them all, but you're going to proceed in order. This is a way of keeping the conversation clear and simplified. Don't chase those rabbits down the rabbit holes. Stick to the subject. One of my favorite lines to use on people, especially in internet chat rooms, is, I understand your point, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this. And then we come back to the subject and they try to take it left again or take it right. And you say, I appreciate your perspective, but that's not what we're talking about. If you want to have a separate conversation in a separate forum about that, we can do that in that forum. But in this forum, we're talking about this. It drives them crazy because what happens is, as you're getting closer to the truth, the narcissist wants to derail you and detour you down a rabbit hole off on some other subject, so you won't get to the truth that you were almost at. You almost got there, but they derailed you. Don't allow them to derail you, okay? Stick to logic and facts. Try to remove the emotion from your statements if you can. It's okay to say, when you did this, it made me feel like this, but try to strip it of the emotionality and stick to the facts. So if they did something that made you feel sad, that's a fact. No one can tell you you don't feel sad. So if you felt sad as a result of an action, that's a fact. But try to strip the emotion out of it. Stick to the facts and stick to logic. The narcissist is going to try very illogical arguments that have a lot of logical fallacies in them. And they also rely heavily on things that are very subjective and hard to prove. So they're going to try to keep you in the clouds. Your job is to bring them back to reality and be bound and determined to do so. And here's probably my favorite tip for this particular video, beating the narc by fighting fair. Ask open-ended questions. Who, what, where, when, and how, but not why. The reason we leave why out is because why tends to trigger automatic defensiveness in people. Why is almost a judgmental question. So here's an example. You could ask someone, why did you do that? Or you could ask someone, what led you to that? What brought you to that conclusion? See how differently they land? Why did you do that? What led you to that? What brought you to that conclusion? It's going to produce a different kind of answer. So leave why out, because most why questions can be rephrased with who, what, where, when, and how questions. The reason you want to leave out yes or no questions with the narc is because it shuts down and stifles the conversation. So if you ask someone a question and they just say yes, no, you're not really getting any real quality information there. And the thing that we want with the narcissist is we want them to explain themselves. I mean, they're not going to, but we want to essentially back them into a logical corner, a factual corner that they can't get out of. And they're going to have some options when they get in that corner. They might get up and storm out of the room or hang up the phone, get super angry and big and make themselves all big and scary because you're too close to the truth. So they're not going to react well when they've been backed into this logical, factual corner. And you just have to be prepared for that. When you go into this conversation, you kind of have to go into it with the thought process of, I'm not trying to win, I'm just trying to not lose. And I know that's going to seem the same to some people, and that's fine. But to me, they're different. You're not trying to win. You're simply trying to not lose. Usually when we're dealing with these people, we lose. We lose so hard in our conversations and interactions because we get flustered because we don't have a plan. And they know that. They know if they just keep throwing different things at you, irrelevant things, gaslight you a little bit of gray area, you'll get so frustrated and confused, you'll throw your hands up. This is a more systematic way of approaching the conversation that keeps you calm and ultimately backs them into a logical, factual corner that they're going to kick and scream to get out of because you're getting too close to the truth. You may have identified the truth. So prior to going in the conversation, you may actually want to have a couple of open-ended questions in mind so you can start asking them those questions when you confront them or when you're in this discussion. I find them to be very helpful. Open-ended questions tend to remove a lot of judgment out of it. But anyway, real quick, tips for beating the narcissist and fighting fair. Don't interrupt them. Let them speak and you take notes on what they're saying so you can address it all. Demand your floor time and refuse to continue the conversation if they keep interrupting you. Reassure them that they're going to get their opportunity to speak or gaslight you. Don't chase their rabbits down rabbit holes. Stick to the subject. Keep bringing them back to the present. Keep bringing them back to what you're talking about. Remain logical and factual and ask open-ended questions. Okay? I hope these tips help you guys. Practice, 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 and I hope that you'll find the quality of your conversations will improve, or they might just dry up because the more you hit them with open-ended questions, the more it just kind of, you know, it's like shining a bright light, and we know how narcissists feel about that. Take care, you guys.